The further you go into darkness, the more expansive is your light. It is a brutal and unwavering desire to face oblivion.
Who can betray you? God isn't here. No one will save you. Flow in your tears. Death will betray you. Suffer the years. Save all your nights for 1,000 red tears.
Do not confuse the tools of a professional with the way of the warrior. My name is Rudy Reyes, Rodolfo Reyes. I'm from Kansas City. I was born there on an air base. My father was fighting in Vietnam. My biological father was a Marine as well. And he'd already been back from 2 tours, but he was gone to us. I traveled through the Midwest in different people's homes and through foster care, and then ultimately the Omaha Home for Boys. And I found my first family on the wrestling mat with other competitors, and all my boys' home brothers. They're all from suffering backgrounds too. I became a fighter for the good, and martial arts, kickboxing, most importantly, the Zen Buddhism, the spirit to guide me through, which led me to the Marine Corps. And I know it seems juxtaposed, you know, a man of Buddha and peace through discipline and martial art. Because remember, all of my fights, all of my matches, we have rules, and never once did I think of actually hurting my opponent. I thought of beating them, not hurting them, not killing them. But there was a war on the horizon in Kosovo, and I saw a documentary about orphans that were caught in the middle. And so I looked at a newspaper, the USA Today, and it said that President Clinton is putting boots on the ground in Kosovo. And I felt like this was my moment of truth. I'd never considered doing the military before, even though I loved John Rambo, even though I loved the fortitude and the confidence that comes from being a warrior in your environment. I'd never considered carrying a rifle for my country, but I saw those orphans in need. And if another young man was going to go fight and take up the discipline, the arms, and possibly face their death, I, as a young man, was 26, I had to do my part. So I joined the Marine Corps. I'm compelled to protect and fight suffering by fighting for something that's innocent. I can fight for myself because no one was there to fight for me. Mythologically, archetypally, possibly that is why I'm so driven. Brother, that really could be why I'm so driven. I'm fighting for me, the kid that didn't have a chance. In a sense, I'm showing up for him. Seeing suffering and pain, it really always hurt my heart. Seeing animals being hurt, or the first time I had to get in a fight, Caesar and I, against these 2 brothers, all 4 of us close in age, and we were getting bullied, and I was 6 or 7, and Caesar was in kindergarten, so he was like 5, and we're tussling in the front yard, and we're fighting. Only like 6 and 7-year-olds, 5-year-olds know how to fight, gripping and tussling and wrestling, and one of the brothers had got on top of Caesar, and I saw my brother Caesar crying. So I took my opponent down. His name is Douglas. I'll never forget it. And he had glasses on. I took him down with the head and arm, and I held him with his head and arm. I saw my brother Caesar crying, and I saw him not giving up. And so I had to hit him in the face. And I broke his glasses, and I saw him cry. I started crying. I hit him a couple of times, and I'm crying too. And I'm like, I almost feel like, I'm saying, God damn this world, you know what I mean? Like, God damn this cruel world. in your 7-year-old mind, it was an insight into the reality of mankind. It taught me to be hard, and I had to be hard. And that would be layered upon when I joined the Marine Corps. My grandfather was my mother's father, and he was really violent, drank to excess, and loved to hurt people. And he was a child abuser, and hated me. Little did I know, because I was a bastard. I had no idea. Nobody in my Mexican traditional family talked about any of this stuff. So I didn't know why, first of all, I looked kind of more fair, and why all of my cousins and relatives always treated me differently, and treated my mother horribly for this reason. And I guess she had been fighting with my grandfather. I was about 3 or 4. And I remember I was so small that the bed was high, and I used all my athletic ability. I was an athlete even when I was 3 years old. You know, I jumped up on that bed. This is down on the border of Texas and Mexico. We had curtains that were flowers. And I would see the shadows of the hummingbirds zooming around, trying to get the flowers of the curtains. And the breeze is going through, and it was such a beautiful day, and the light coming through. But my mother was shuddering and crying. I said, "What's wrong, Mommy? You know, what's wrong?" And she couldn't tell me. She had been fighting with her father. She was crying. And then I hear this big ruckus and sirens outside. And I go running out the front porch and jump off the front porch, and I see my father there, and my scumbag of a grandfather, his eyes were always jaundiced and yellow, and he's got his knife out, and my dad's got his pistol out. And I run to my dad, and I'm holding on to his legs. Daddy, what's wrong, you know? Are you gonna kill him? He whipped me one time, for the smallest of infractions. And he had a really skinny belt. He's still dressed in the 50s. This is like 1975, 74. And he whipped me so mercilessly. It cut me so bad that I kind of went into shock, and I couldn't stop heaving. My mother was, I think she might have been out partying. She was young. She was only 17 when she had me. When she came home the next day, I was still, but I had already moved on with my life. I'm playing in the bathtub with my 2 brothers. I'd already been playing outside, but I was cut up really bad all over. And I never forgot that. I never forgot it. And so when my dad had that 357, he had his Colt Python. He'd just come onto the police department. So, are you going to kill him? Like I was hoping, you know, are you going to kill him? You know? And of course he wanted to. And my mom comes running out. She's screaming. There's cops there that are his buddies, trying to calm it down. And I guess this is just the environment and this history. It's not that unique to me. You know, it seems that in a lot of rough and tumble regions, you know, the border, places where there's a lot of pain and economic struggle, when things are falling apart, I'm sure that there's been some other kids probably grew up like me. At the time, it was all I knew. And then shortly, my mother and father were completely apart, and then I'd moved to Kansas City with my grandmother. Maybe it was those early traumas, but also I have so many great memories of like chasing the little baby frogs out of the canal, and playing with my 2 puppies, and learning to read, learning to draw. I'm an artist as well, learning to draw, and I just kept going forward. I just kept going forward best I could. I love comic books. I love heroes. I focused on that, you know. That's what I did. And the fallout of Vietnam, the fallout of American and Western exceptionalism. The 70s are a really dark time. My mother was already a drug addict by then, probably by 20. My father was addicted to violence. the world was violent and dark, and there were no heroes. There was. It wasn't cool to be a good guy. There's actually people were much more interested in drugs and pressing the envelope with hedonism or hubris or whatever, but there was no heroes. The older generation, my grandmother, she took us in. And we had a suburban life for about 3 years, and that's where I learned to read, write, have great marks at school, not worry about gangs or drugs or nothing. But then she died at 51, younger than I am myself. Yeah, so we bounced around from one cousin to one aunt and then friends. Things started getting really, really bad around 8, 9 years old. And so I had to start leaning on myself. I knew the key was strength. I knew the only way forward through this hell was strength. And my discipline started then. One day I'm going to be strong enough when no one can hurt me. One day, I'm not going to be afraid. That's it. One day I am not going to be afraid. And it came sooner than I thought. We were caught in the Rodney King riots. My brother Michael and Caesar had just come from Kung Fu class at the YMCA with me. We were mobbed by thousands of people, and I had to drive my car to try to get to my place. Some guys followed me back, and I was maybe 19 or 20. So Caesar would have been 18 or 19. Michael was 17, and I opened up the door knowing, because I had already been through so much, knowing that this is a survival situation and we're going to have to fight hard. So one of the guys starts to get out of his car, and I just run and I kick the door and crunch him up in it. And now he's not sure about getting back out because I'm fired up. Another guy on the other side has a full beer bottle. He throws the beer at me. And I just duck out of the way, and it hits the tree next to me. And I guess the glass cuts my head, and so I'm bleeding, but I just think it's just beer. And so I'm looking pretty ferocious, ready to go. Another beer bottle comes, and it bounces off maybe the vinyl sidework of this tenement that I was living in, hits the ground. And my little brother Caesar steps on the beer bottle, full bottle beer, and it starts spinning backwards. And then Caesar kicks it, and it hits the windshield of the car and explodes. And Caesar says, "I don't want no trouble, but I'll kick your ass if need be." And it just paused everything. And the fellas loaded up and got the hell on out of there. And we all just shared a look together, you know what I mean? Little Michael over there on his freaking Kung Fu stance. Caesar standing proud, doing the most ninja Matrix shit ever. And me with blood pouring down my face. And I was like, yeah, the three amigos, you can't stop us. Maybe sometimes I'm thankful for the abuse, because it's the truth. That's the real world. The real world is, if you're not strong, you'll be victimized. If you're not strong, you'll be taken. If you're not strong and identify other strong people and come together on ethics, on morals, and pledge yourself to something bigger, then you'll fall. I learned that very early. No wonder I did well in recon. No wonder I did all of those suicide missions without a thought, because those 4 other men, my life was in their hands and their life was in mine. And those 5 of us could do could do more than 500. There's power there, like Knights of the Round Table there. Over time, though, with that extremity, there's a cost for it. Jordan, there's a cost for extremity. There's a cost for for extreme violence as a method of solving problems. Sometimes it is needed. But when it becomes your only way, damn, you get enticed. It even happened to me, the compassionate kid that loves hummingbirds, all right? The kid that loved the color purple, and even I fell in love with this freaking power. Man, we're carrying rockets and grenades, and I'm controlling the close air support, and I've got helicopters that are on my beck and call, lighting up anything and everything that moves on the other side of this river. I'm given trust by my commanders to, under the cover of darkness, climb a bridge with explosives, rig it deep behind enemy lines. Wow. Pretty soon I believe that I can do anything, and I especially am good at things that are dangerous. And if they're dangerous, it normally means somebody's got to get hurt or killed. It affected me. It changed me. It changed me. Some of that will never leave me. But now I understand that that's just the cost. So I'm going to do something good with this. This is my third war. It's Fallujah. And I'm doing a left seat, right seat with the army. So we're doing a battlefield turnover. The army has been overrun. They've given it to 1st Recon now to take over. The army's been overrun. They've taken so many casualties, so many IEDs. They called me back as an instructor to take a team to Fallujah to create some law and order. That was the most dangerous place in the world. We get a call that these contractors are in contact. By the time we get to that bridge, they're already burned up and hanging on the bridge. Delta comes in to do a hard hit. They're in Little Birds. All my recon brothers, we're all infantrymen first, by the way. We're all infantrymen, machine gunners, riflemen, mortarmen. We know the basics of all combat. And of course, we're high speed too. I get everybody down online. We bring our gun trucks down into defilade so only the gun is hanging up. Delta comes in on some pretty high speed, tricked out Humvees, and their Little Bird gets blown right out of the sky right above me by a heat-seeking missile. Delta doesn't know what to do. We open up and just start lighting up everybody in that Ville that's got freaking weapons and RPGs and anybody moving to us. That was my first 3 days in Fallujah. Welcome. You know, good morning, Fallujah. And I lived this way for 7 months, day and night, overt and covert missions. I don't remember ever really doing anything except looking for the enemy to kill. However, I never was angry. By the way, one of my teammates was killed, and 8 of my brothers were wounded, one of them horribly. I never was angry, but I knew everything was on the line, and I would never be caught because I was not aggressive enough. Therefore, fear was not going to be in the equation. The bullet went right through my windshield right here, but Sean was hit here, so I go to reach for him, and the insurgents are coming up in this ditch, and Sean's still shooting with one arm, and he's trying to stabilize his leg. I turn this way, and we've got guys coming this way. My Chafin is shooting so fast and so hard right by my ear. My ear's still gone. Chop away through this thing. 3 of my tires are blown out. There's bullets all over the freaking Humvee. We somehow get our way out after we've secured the area by killing all the insurgents. Then I've got to get him out of there. And we still got a machine gun that's way up the road that's shooting too. So the car is like a clown car. It's going like this, you know what I mean? And I'm scared to death because my best friend and the hero and the man that's been to Somalia and Haiti, the freaking salty snake eater recon marine, is leaving me, and it's now me in charge with my other 3 men. And I'm like, holy shit, we don't even know how long it's going to take us to get to Baghdad. We're way ahead of everybody else. We're just chopping our way through every city. And I get him to the hasty Castivac with a helicopter and some trucks. And there's some wounded American soldiers. This is far away. This is maybe 20 kilometers backwards. And then there's some wounded Iraqis. And like with tears, but also pride of my man that's leaving, and then the pride he had in his eyes for me, knowing that I'm going to go all the way with these guys, and me gingerly running through his ruck and making sure I get his watch cap, his black watch cap, and his freaking Copenhagen, his dip. And those moments of real humanity, of real humanity, and real hope, and so be it if we all die doing this thing. At least it was real for us. At least we had each other. And we love each other to this day. All of us, my community, my special operations community, recon, Marine Corps, even my brothers in the UK, god dang, we're a brotherhood. We're a family like you cannot believe. Find your family. Make your own instrument something to be proud of. Go into the world, make a difference. Find your family. To this day, I still have sleeping problems. And I still have sleep to this very day because of that. Naturally, my heart starts beating really fast when I get really tired. Or what, like this morning, the cats woke me up and I got up and I wanted to get a few more hours of sleep, but anytime I wake up, my heart starts beating really fast. I think it must be from the 1 or 2 times I fell asleep out. Eventually I'm up for 3 days on mission. I hear squawk of the radio because sometimes there's incoming, sometimes, it's combat, it's war. I'd always wake up, my heart's beating. What's happening? What's happening? I still get that response even now, even if it's just the cats that jump up. So, I gotta pay for this. That's okay. At least I can. Imagine what the alternative would be, Jordan. What if I succumb? That means I would have died there, or worse, the men would have died, and then I would have taken my own life. I know I couldn't have lived with that. That would be the alternative. I think some of this PTSD is an honor to have. I believe my PTSD is an honor to have, and I treat it as such, and therefore do not let it rule me. Understand it for what it is, and try to better equip myself so that I can live a fruitful life. I've been through so much, or I had witnessed such an extremity of violence and pain and suffering, and I felt this wave hit me, and then gravity pressing me down. I started to shake, and I'm at a dinner in a nice restaurant with people, and I gotta step away, and I start to shake. I think these things were happening to me, and I just said, okay, then I'm just going to do drugs and drink because I cannot handle this, nor am I going to admit to myself that I got a problem. I say, who's got a problem? It's my buddy Eddie without his arms. Who's got a problem? It's Jeske's family because their son was murdered by one of our allies. Who's got a problem? It's for Sergeant Smith because his family's never going to see him again. Who's got a problem? It's Eric Cucker, who's lost his mind and is forever going to be on a watch list and can't work anymore. They've got problems. I don't have problems. So what the is your excuse, Rudy? That prevented me from ever healing. Prevented me from ever healing at all. It was the anger and the toughness and my own toughness in the end that almost took my life. My own hardness that served me so well is why I almost took my life. It was real. Imagine having those conversations with yourself every single day. I was obsessed with pain and suffering myself. I got a great counterterror mission in Northeast Africa. I got to run and gun, teach and train, empower, fight the good fight, clean and sober, powerful. But it never lasted. And in between, I would keep falling further and further away. I probably hurt everybody that really loved me. I hurt them. Everybody that just wanted to be around me because I was their cool special operations commando guy. It was really awesome, and you'd feel really cool around because you could also kill everybody in the room. Those are the people I was around, and I kind of liked it because I knew I was kind of hanging out with low vibration because I thought myself that I was low vibration now, and there was no future for me. Oh, it ain't that hard, Rudy. Come on, you're only suffering this bad. Come on, it can go worse. One of my sniper brothers, who's now dead, he chopped up a bunch of heroin in the cocaine. I didn't know it, so freaking doing lines, drinking. Some hovel in Bronx. And I start throwing up uncontrollably, right? Because I guess it's the heroin. I was laughing. It made me laugh. So I just did more. I didn't care. I didn't care. I definitely didn't care about me. Because I couldn't even have that conversation that something really is hurting me. Oh, that doesn't hurt. That doesn't hurt. Or I find myself in a veterans mental institution with a bunch of freaking criminals. And I'm a highly decorated operator, and I'm with a lot of really, really suffering people that have been prostitutes, drug dealers, armed robbers, in prison, out of prison, and now here I am. One day when you look at that stack of medals on my chest, and my jump wings, my dyed bubble, my hog's tooth, and this beautiful earned regalia that can only be earned in war. And here I am, having to check in every 3 hours and do a piss test every day. And oh man, it was just really hard. But somehow I didn't completely give up. I think that was, again, meant to be. Maybe, God just knows that one day I would accept God's higher purpose, and that at the end of me, there's something more, and there's something been there the entire time. And I've always thought that would be quitting. It's like asking for help. I'm serious. I was such a self-starter and self-motivator. I was a team leader. Asking for help from God was too much. I thought that was quitting. I thought that was weak. One day I was in the mirror and I said, I am weak. I got nothing left. I got nothing left. There's nothing inside. I am weak. And still, it was a courtship for about 2 years, I definitely pray for other people. Never pray for me. But I damn sure do now. I say my prayers every night. I thank God every time I have some food. And I'm always praying for the very, very best for people in sacrifice and struggle. I never went to a single funeral, brother. First of all, I was fighting all those freaking years. I didn't go to a funeral because I was still fighting. So what? It's bigger than what people can explain, this real world. I believe I've been in the real world. What a savage real world it is out there, and I never take it for granted. And maybe that's why, we talk, and why I keep my weapon skills and keep my body skills, keep my martial skills, keep my mind strong, is because I know that's the real world. And maybe I may be called to act again one day. And it's my duty to be ready. And it's not from a space of violence. I'm not thinking of this as a badass. I'm not thinking of this as some kind of superhero. I'm just thinking about the truth. And maybe one day my community needs me, or the community overseas needs me. If somebody needs me, I'll be ready. I've been a part, I've witnessed things that human beings do to each other that most people can't imagine. And I've also had to turn off my heart and my compassion in the midst of things too. I'm so overwhelmed now at the opportunity to live, and that my voice means something, and that people love me and believe in me. My gosh. I mean, if you all would have seen me 8 years ago, you wouldn't recognize the man in front of you. Some people are going to watch this. They're going to have thought that they were alone. They were going to thought they were alone in abandonment, alone in shame, alone in abuse, alone in fear, alone in what happens when I have to reform myself. And is there anything there? Or is it all lost? Am I lost now? Because I am not what I was before. I'm telling you, there's a Phoenix opportunity for each and every one of you. I'm living proof. The Phoenix is waiting for all of us. You just got to take a step forward to it. Take a step forward. You're going to be surprised. The freaking universe, God himself, is conspiring to get you there. He's conspiring to get you there. So take that on board. Having a purpose, aligning yourself with a purpose has been the greatest gift that's been given to me since I was since I was a child. Because of suffering and pain and neglect, I was abused and hurt bad, and then I had the intuition to know that it's next coming from Michael and Caesar, my two little brothers, because we're only a year apart each. Boom, the purpose is I need to protect and prepare them. And that is what got me out of my own pain. Matter of fact, I almost didn't remember pain during those times, during those years, although I was very sick, and we were living on our own in a shack of a house with the floor falling to the dirt, rats and cockroaches. Rats would be climbing over us at night, and barely making it calorically. I remember one time just having to make sandwiches for the little boys with stale hot dog buns that I chopped into 3 pieces with just some mustard and like some onions maybe in the fridge, and we were struggling. However, at that time, I did not recognize what pain and how close to the brink on my health that I was. I had hepatitis, and we all 3 had worms and lice. I still went to the park to do pull-ups, dips. I still went to the park and swung on the swings to kind of feel speed and lightness. However, the drive was, I'm building stronger young men, Michael and Caesar, and that means I got to be strong. So that's what I did. That's the gift of suffering. It will open up doors to you. Maybe some of these scars, the tissue, some of the tissue will be scarred forever. So some of this tissue cannot be removed. But if I can remember that, again, it's a blessing to have been robust enough to have the scar instead of just bleeding out. I was so depressed when I was 9 years old, you know what I mean? I could have bled out. Instead, my body, my mind, maybe my soul was strong enough and wise enough to give me some scars because it stopped me from bleeding. You have the moment of right now to make a decision. Hey, I want more. I can be more. I am more. It boils down to this. When I saw my instructors, who, by the way, were men like me, when I saw them, I said, wow, the real John Rambos, wow. And they get to wear black. Wow, I want to be like that. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but they've got 2 legs. They've got a torso. They've got 2 arms. Sure, they got some thick muscle, but they did it. Then I must be able to do it. So I leaned in. If someone did it, then I must be able to do it. If someone's done it, then it's possible. And I'm here for a reason, so let's go for it. The purpose. And that's for every individual to joyfully discover. I can't tell you your purpose, but you'll find it if you step on that path. And it's a joy. It's a joy. The energy never stops once you've aligned with purpose. The further you go into darkness, the more expansive is your light. It is a brutal and unwavering desire to face with courage oblivion. Oblivion. In that oblivion, you're going to find a reason why you live. And all warriors find why they live is for others. Doesn't have to be kickboxing or military or jiu-jitsu. You know, sometimes that everyday man or woman that does that 9-to-5 job and still does a part-time on the weekend, for those 3 kids to have some decent food and still struggle at having a decent education. When I see people also that have struggled with weight, being overweight and unhealthy, and I see them walking on the streets or in the gym, I find the courage of those people, the warrior spirit in those people. I'm enthralled with that courage. I'm enthralled with what demons they're fighting. So although, you know, I'm a character in Call of Duty and I have a record for fighting war and I know how to fight with my hands, my body, and I still keep my skills up, those are just tools. Do not confuse the tools of a professional with the way of the warrior. Each and every one of you out there has the opportunity to be a warrior.
Today's video is powered by Huel, a quick, affordable, and nutritionally complete food that is just absolutely amazing. I'm gonna link it down below. The reason why I say it's amazing is because this is exactly what has fueled my whole film crew, my family, as we travel around the world to make these documentaries. To know that whilst I'm on the go, whilst I'm so busy I can't prepare a meal, that I can grab a bottle of Huel and it has everything that I need and all the protein that I need to stay in shape and to stay healthy, is the biggest hack for my life. So if you want to find out more, head down to the link in the description. I really recommend looking into their Black Edition. I use it for training and staying in shape.